So you want to install T-track into something like this workbench that I just built, then this is the video for you. I will show you how I installed mine along with a couple mistakes I made so you don't mess up like I did. When you are done, there are a bunch of different accessories you can get to make your projects easier and a little more efficient. Like these clamps and these hold downs from Milescraft. As always, I will leave a link in the description to all the parts I used so you can go check them out if you're doing the same thing that I did. I started by getting everything that I needed for the parts. The parts you need are a router of choice, a 3/4 inch router bit to cut the grooves into the surface. I bought this Xenon set from Amazon. They come with 4 48-inch tracks, as well as 4 of the intersection kits, as well as all of the screws that you need to fasten them into the grooves. There are more expensive kits from places like Rockler, but this whole set came in at a price at about $60. The same Rockler set runs over $200 when not on sale, so if you're wanting to go with Rockler, which they are a nice product, wait for a sale. I started by installing my 3/4 inch bit into my Milwaukee router. I set the initial depth to roughly half of the depth of the T-track itself. The general rule of thumb is if you're using a 1/4 inch shank bit to not exceed cutting over a 1/4 inch depth at one time. I decided where I wanted to put all of my T-tracks, making note of all the measurements. Mine ended up being 10 inches from each edge for the longest 2 of the runs. And the one that is running crossways is going to be 7 inches from the edge. The second one that goes crossways will be 32 inches from that same edge. Now that I know all my measurements, I found a straight edge to clamp down so the router has something to follow. You can use whatever you have available that is straight, whether that be a piece of wood with a straight edge or a 7-foot level like the one that I'm using. My router base is 2.5 inches from the edge of that 3/4 inch bit, but you'll have to measure yours since all routers will be different with different bases. I made a mark at each end of the table, adding my 2.5 inches, and clamped down my level to the table on those marks. When setting your router speed, I found that this is a bit that works right in the middle, not real fast, not real slow. The larger the bit, the slower the cutting speed as a general rule of thumb. I did hook up my dust collection since I am going to be cutting MDF, which is my top, and that is going to send dust absolutely everywhere. You want to make sure that you keep very good pressure against your straight edge and move slowly. If you lose focus, the router can walk away from the straight edge, like it did for me for the first foot into my first cut. This was the first mistake I made due to a lack of focus. So be sure to stay focused on keeping that pressure pushed towards your straight edge. You'll make that first pass, then reset your depth to cut a smidge deeper than the T-track itself. This will let the T-track sit slightly underneath the surface so nothing will get caught on it when sliding things around. Once the depth is set, you can take your second pass to the final depth the same way, making sure to go slowly and keep pressure like I said before. So now you can go around and cut all of your other grooves the same way, but I got bullish and I did one at a full depth of the T-track so that I only had to make one pass. It worked great for the first one, and on the second one that I cut with the full depth, right away, as soon as I started making the cut, I got a crap load of tear out. This is my second mistake. To get the best looking results, keep with the 2-pass rule for all of your slots. You'll thank me when you're done, when everything looks better so you don't get impatient. When cutting the ones that go the length of the table, I had to get a little bit creative when clamping. I used a second level to make a T to hold the far end of the level since there was nowhere to clamp that level on that end. Once you got all of your grooves cut, it's time to install the intersections first before you do the long sections of the track. This was easily done by putting them in and pre-drilling with a 1/8 inch drill bit. Pre-drilling will ensure that the screws stay as centered as possible and not move the tracks when you tighten down the screws if you don't get them centered correctly. Be careful, I did snap 2 of these drill bits due to them being so small, so have some extras and go slow. When you put these screws in, don't use an impact. Make sure to use a drill and set the clutch so that you don't over tighten and strip out the holes. Now that we have all the intersections installed, it's time to move on to the longer sections of the track. These can be cut with your miter saw since the tracks are made out of aluminum. Aluminum is a soft metal that won't damage the carbide tip blades on your miter saw. When cutting these, safety glasses and hearing protection is a must-have. It is loud and it does throw small chunks of sharp metal absolutely everywhere. They definitely won't feel good if you get one of these in your squishy eyeballs and just might end up in a hospital visit. You can either cut them all out and then install them, or cut them one by one and install one by one. It's up to you and how you want to go about it. That's all there is to installing the T-track. The process is the same way, no matter the brand of track that you use. The accessories that are available for this application of T-track are endless and fairly cheap. So no matter what you're wanting to clamp or hold in place, there is one for you. Thanks for watching. If you want to know how I built this workbench with the skill table saw built in, check out this video up here, and I will catch you guys in the next video.